when I was growing up, rather when I was very small, Christmas Day services were not a tradition in my family. How much has changed since then? Now, it was right around high school that I started going to the Christmas Day service. And part of this was because I was one of those people that got roped into all these things that nobody else wanted to do. It was how I ended up becoming acolyte pastor for a while at the cathedral in Birmingham, Alabama. And it's also how I ended up as a reader for the Christmas Day service for many, many years. But the thing is that ever since I started going to this service, I fell in love with it. It's a quiet and peaceful way for us to connect back to God and really to remember what this day is really all about. We hear this in our gospel lesson for this morning. It's the gospel lesson we normally do is the one from John. It's not about the nativity scene or anything like that. It's not on the surface what it seems to be that we're here celebrating today. Instead, it goes all the way back to the very, very beginning of things. The very beginning of the world. In this reading, we hear that the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. That Word of God, that Word that was God, that was there at the very beginning of creation, that brought us and everything around us into being. We hear that that very Word became a human being, like every one of us, came into this world as one of us, to be with us, and to help bring us back to Him. That's what the incarnation is really about. It's good that we remember that Jesus was a baby and celebrate that, because that's important. That's the sign of God's being incarnate. That's the sign of the Word being made flesh. But it's helpful for us to remember who that child is too. Because this is no ordinary child that we celebrate. It's not even an ordinary, extraordinary child that we celebrate. What we celebrate is this child who is God come down into this world to be with us, to be one of us, to pave the way for our salvation. Really what we're celebrating here when we talk about God becoming a human being is more than just a birthday. It's more than just a simple celebration. It's a reminder of where the path of our salvation was forged. The most important thing about Jesus for us and for the world is His death and resurrection. But we can't have that death and resurrection. We can't have that sacrifice that God was willing to come into this world and be one of us to make. We can't have all of that without first having the incarnation, without first having Jesus' birth in this world. That's what we celebrate today. The beginning of the hope of the resurrection. And for that, we can truly say, thanks be to God.